Would you study at LIGS
Oh,
University? Yeah.
so I'm studying a PhD, and it is in finance, risk management. So I currently work as a risk director in one of Canada's biggest big banks. So risk management is something that sounded nice.
Yeah. Would you say it is helping you somehow to progress in your career?
Oh, sure. Every knowledge is really worth it. Somebody told me that, sometimes PhD is not about the broad content that you learn, but it's basically about the process, of getting it. So when you think about all the research, when you think about the thorough work you have to do, the writings, you find out that those skills are very, very good in terms of whatever you're doing at work, because it kind of broadens you to understanding literatures, how to review them, how to put together methodologies, of your analysis, how to get to good points, good summary points, inferences. So I think that the process of PhD is a very enlightening one. And I think that it's been a great experience for sure.
Mm.
Great
Uh,
learning.
what would you say was the best experience so far?
I think that one thing I love about leagues is the support that they give to students. I would say that, the school has been very supportive in terms of, when I ask for things, they do help. When I have questions, they respond. I also want to give a shout out to my PhD, well, I call him like the reviewer. That
Yeah.
is Dr. Bambandi. And he's been doing a great job, guiding me. So that experience, putting my thesis together and having that full support from my PhD tutor has been an
Mm.
amazing experience.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how, first of all, how did online studying fit into your schedule?
Oh my God, I can't even do anything apart from online. Like I am so busy.
Yeah.
I am so busy. Like I have a 9 to 5, that I have to do, and I have a team that I have to lead. I have kids. They are teenagers that I have to run around with. And I also introduced one of them to entrepreneurship. So I have to support her. I was writing a book myself, and I'm also a community leader, so I do a lot of engagement within the community, whether it's speaking, whether it's facilitating events. So online just was just very well suiting, especially because I can do it at my own time. I think that's really what I love, the self-pace. I know that some people could do PhD in 2 years, but I'm running my own for almost 5 years. But then I'm not in competition with anybody. So I'm very happy. I'm concluding it this year. But then it gave me time to still do other things along the way. And that's really one thing that I really, really appreciate.
Yeah, as you mentioned, you are raising children. You already wrote a book. We will talk about it in a second. But would you say it is possible to combine LIGS studies with the work and with raising children?
If I did it, every other person can do it, right? So I did it with three young children. One of them wasn't a teenager as when I started. I had a 9 to 5. I had to travel all the way to Toronto every morning. That took me about, 1.5 hours to go, 1.5 hours to come back.
Yeah.
But one thing I always tell people is don't put pressure on yourself. This race you run it individually. Don't, other people are doing it in 1 year, so I have to do it in 1 year. It's an unnecessary stress. So just, plan it out. I, from the beginning, said it's going to take me 5 years to do it. So I planned it out on my pace, and I took my pace along the way. So at the end of the day, it's all about, how much pressure do you want to give yourself? If you want to do it in 1 year, then keep other things aside and just focus on it.
Mm.
So, always, put a plan out and be able to consider your roadmap with all other priorities that you have, so that you make sure that you're not giving yourself unnecessary stress. That's really the thing that makes you to quit.
Mm. Would you recommend studying at LIGS University to other moms, perhaps?
Yes, I've also recommended it to other people, I believe. I'm sure that
Yeah.
because people reach out to me on LinkedIn and say, "Oh, are you in leaks? Should I do it? What do you think about it?" So I think that I've recommended it to a lot of people, and I believe that some of them are students right now. So why
Mm,
not? Why not? It's economical. So when you look at the tuition you pay and compare it to others for the same degree that you're getting,
mm.
I don't see why not.
Can you maybe elaborate a little bit more about the pricing of Lakes University? Is it, would you say, is it affordable? Is it, how is it basically, in your point of
So
view?
I think that is very affordable, especially for the fact that they allowed me to pay instrumental for 2 years. So that kind of made it very easy for me because I paid on a monthly basis. So I didn't have to get the cash up front. And that was something else that I liked.
Yeah, what did you find to be the biggest benefit, let's say, of online studying compared to traditional brick and mortar institution?
Self-paced,
Yeah.
being able to do it at my own time. So after work, after I've done my mommy duties, then I can always give it 1 hour before I sleep. And so in that way, I did it on my own pace. I mean, I can't overemphasize that. That was the icebreaker for me.
You also wrote a book, Lessons to My Younger Self. So yeah, you're a mother, working 9 to 5, studying at Lakes, and then you find the time to write a book. Can you tell us a little bit more about the inspiration that led you to write this?
So it was all in COVID. So if you kind of think about COVID, we're all at home, and after work we had nowhere to go. So there was that whole trying to get yourself busy, trying to engage yourself. So one of the first things I did was to tell my children to write a book. So we started writing a math book, and then because they were the ones writing that math book, they also challenged me and said, "Mommy, so which book are you going to be writing yourself?" These days you can't just be a model by talking. You have to be a model by doing. So I now thought of it and said, since I do a lot of leadership conferences, so for youth and for my younger self, so I always start from like age 13 and above. So I remember that the youth conference I did in 2019 had over 100 youths come to that event. So and I said, okay, I can then put the lessons that I've learned through my life in nuggets, because if you put a very big book, that generation are not going to read it. So I said, okay, I'm going to write a book that will just be basically my lessons, and I'll put it in those lesson nuggets form, so that
Mm.
they can be able to read it. And that was where the inspiration came, and I started writing it then. It took me 3 years, but we're here now. The book is out.
Yeah, and it's out there. Okay, how would you say it aims to inspire, motivate young people?
For me, I think that the young people currently in this world or in this time are very distracted with so many things. And then because they're
Yeah.
also very distracted, the focus is also, the attention is very short, right? So one thing I always, and I think that many of them think they know what they want to do, they know it all, but as you work with them, you will find out that they don't. So I
Mm.
think that it's very, very important for the older ones to find a way to reach the younger ones, to be able to, help them and guide them. So for me, leading the youths and inspiring the youth is something that is very, very important. Whether they think they need it or not, we have to find a way to reach them. And
Mhm.
that's something that I hold as a passion. And that's something that I'm trying so much to get across.
Mm. Can you can you provide some maybe examples from the book? Do you remember some stories maybe that you experienced and that you want to talk about, and that you do talk
Okay.
about in the book?
So this is how the book looks like.
Okay, okay,
So you
right.
will see that each
Yeah.
page of it will have a lesson, and then it will also have a picture. So that picture allows even the younger ones to be able to articulate, what I have written in the book. So I'm reading from, the one that is lessons to my younger self, lifestyle. So I also have one that is work style. So
Okay.
here, which is page 15, it says, When you accept your limitations, it takes away your fears and insecurities. This allows your potentials to soar in confidence.
Mm.
So what is the story behind it? So I came to Canada in 2010, and if you can hear my voice, I come from Africa, Nigeria precisely, and I do have, some sort of a Nigerian accent. So coming in for me was really a big limitation because when I speak, I always think that, oh, I have this accent. People are not going to hear me. People are going to say, oh, she doesn't speak like the Caucasians, or she does not have a Canadian accent. So that disturbed me for so many years. I couldn't really come out to talk. I couldn't really speak. I couldn't even present in meetings. But, at a time I told myself, you have to conquer your fears if you're ever going to, become who you want to be, because I really wanted to be somebody. So one of the things I did that has really helped me was to accept that limitation. So when
Mm.
I come into meetings, very first thing I'll say is, I'm Nigerian. I do have a Nigerian accent, but I'll try to repeat as much as I can. And after I have come to terms that I have an accent and I can't do anything about it, it gave me the confidence to come out to speak like I'm speaking to you now. I know I have an accent, but yeah, I'm no longer conscious about it because
Mm.
I've accepted that limitation. And then it allowed me to focus on my potentials, on what I want to be. And believe me, I now saw with confidence, I'm able to speak, I'm able to talk. And that accent that rings in my head, oh, you have a Nigerian accent, has kind of disappeared.
Yeah, 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 we embraced it, right? Basically, yeah. Do you think this is something that young people are struggling with?
So limitations are in
Yeah.
different ways. Some of them are struggling with their body. They think that they are fat. Some people think that, their color is not so good. Some people think that, they have hairs on their body. Like, we all have different limitations. So I just talked about the one that kept me in my fears. But everybody has one. Some people think they are ugly. Like, they are just different things. There's no human being that will tell you I'm 100% perfect the way I wish
Yeah.
I wanted to be. So at the end of the day, it's all about accepting things you can change. My little daughter will tell me, "Oh, I wish my hair was so straight." I'd be like, "But you're African. Your hair is kinky.
Mm.
You have to accept it. You have to love it."
Yeah. Was it difficult for you to share your own limitations, your own life story in the book?
No, it wasn't, because I kind of felt that, the young people need to hear it. I remember going for an interview years back, and the interviewer told me, "Oh, with your accent, do you think you're going to climb the corporate ladder?" That was when it actually dawned on me. That was also where the fears really came and was upon me. So most times these fears are based on what you've heard people
Mm.
tell you. So you need a conscious and deliberate, effort to break out yourself from it. So I think that young people, yeah, I think that it's something, is everybody is have fears that for some reason they've come from somewhere, and you just have to deliberately try to break it
Mm.
off and so on. Accept it. When you accept it, when people tell you about it, it doesn't hurt you anymore because it's
Mm.
a known deal.
Who do you think will enjoy your book the most?
So I called it Notes to My Younger Self. So I think everyone from the age of 13 years down to like maybe 40 will
Mm.
love the book, because the book talks about is those things that you get to understand when you start experiencing it. But if you kind of read the book and you kind of know these things ahead of time, it could change your perspective when you are now when you are in that situation. And that's the whole essence of lessons, so that you don't have to experience the same thing that I experienced that cost me some pains.
Uh, do you think maybe online education is part of it, but do you think young people should strive to redefine their limitations to kind of be better? I know it's difficult in this age, in this era of social media and stuff, but what would you tell me? How should I start?
So what I always tell people is that, That's what they call hearing. Like, oh, and when you hear, it brings some affirmations for you. So either you're the one talking to yourself and you're hearing yourself,
Mm.
or others are talking to you and you're hearing yourself. So you have to look for resources that can actually help you affirm, those potentials that you have in yourself so that you can break down your limitations. And one of the ways to do that is looking for, you could call it online education, but online has too many things. You could be getting a book like this, but looking for things that align with the vision and who you want to be, and start, investing your brain in it, your knowledge in it, so that it can keep affirming the future you want for you, and it will lead you to that future. So to your question, is looking for resources that are aligned
Mm.
to your goal or to who you want to be, so that you can, so that it will help you to affirm every day towards that path.
Nana, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
You're welcome.